All right then, so let's take a look at example number 1 and see if we can do this, see if we can factor the difference of squares. So if we look at problem A here, we see 81v squared minus 64w squared. That is our two terms that we are using in a subtraction problem here. We're subtracting away 64w squared from 81v squared. Now we want to rewrite those as a squared minus b. So we want to rewrite 81v squared as some number squared, okay? And we want to rewrite 64w squared as some other number squared. Now keep in mind right now, 81v squared, only the v is being squared, right? It's 81 groups of v squared. So what would I need to write to get that, putting it all in parentheses like it's shown in the problem? Well, what's the square root of 81? If you know that off the top of your head, you know it is 9. Okay, so we have 9v squared. Okay, we could imagine that as 9v times 9v. 9 times 9 is 81. V times v is v squared, right? Okay, and just to check that we feel confident about that, let's do a much simpler one. Let's just do 2v times 2v. Okay, the reason why we're going to multiply the coefficient in front, the 9s, and we're going to multiply the v's separately is this. So once again, let's say I had 2v times 2v, right? 2 v's along the top, v plus v, 2 v's along the side. Well, what would I get? I would get v squared here, 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 and here. So 2v, which is what's on top, times 2v on the left becomes 4v squareds. Okay, for the same reasoning, we can imagine our top picture, 9v times 9v, we could imagine taking that and breaking it up into 9v's along the top, 9v's along the left side, and 9 times 9 would give you 81 little boxes, each v squared in size. Okay, so what about 64w squared? We'll take a moment and try to think, what would that one be? Through the same process, well, what's the square root of 64? You should know that that is 8. 8 times 8 is 64. So we can say 9v squared minus 8w squared. I'll put the 2 back up because I wrote over it. Okay, and based on our process, if we have a squared minus b squared, we are able to rewrite that as a plus b times a minus b. So a plus b would be 9v plus 8w. And a minus b would be 9v minus 8w. Okay. How about for problem B, for example B here, or problem B in example 1? Well, we have 1 minus 144q squared. Well, if we're going to take the square root of our left term, we're still going to have 1, right? Square root of 1 is just 1. And what is the square root of 144? What number do I multiply by itself to get 144? Well, that number would be 12. So we'd imagine saying this would be 12q squared. Okay, so our difference of squares is going to look like this. It's going to be a plus b, so 1 plus 12q times a minus b, which is 1 minus 12q.